He ate the same meal for 1,427 days straight, not by choice, by design. And when he finally broke, the system called it his fault. This is ADX Florence, America's most secure prison. But the real control, it does not come from the bars. It comes from what is on the tray. You are about to see how a multi-billion-dollar industry turned food into a weapon, and why one inmate's fight exposed a system designed to break the human mind. By the end, you will understand why what happened in Cell 49 changed everything we thought we knew about solitary confinement. ADX Florence. They call it the Alcatraz of the Rockies. 342 cells, each one built to erase you. This is where America sends the absolute worst. Terrorists, gang leaders, men who killed inside other prisons. 23 hours a day in a 7 by 12 foot concrete box. No human contact, no windows, no sound, except the food slot. And that slot, it is the only connection to the outside world. 3 times a day, 14 seconds each. But here is what most people do not know. Rule number 1, food is currency. An extra packet of salt, worth a week's protection. A dessert cup, that is information, power. Rule number 2, refusal is resistance. Do not eat, the system documents it. Psychiatric evaluation, forced feeding authorized. Your body is not yours anymore. And rule 3, the one they do not tell you. The company providing the food, they profit more when you suffer. You will see why in a moment. Let me show you how this works. The Federal Bureau of Prisons spends $4 billion a year on food. $4 billion. But they do not cook it themselves. They contract it out. 3 companies control almost 70% of prison food in America. Airmark, Trinity Services, and the biggest, a company called Keefe Group. Their contract at ADX Florence, $32 million over 5 years. Here's the math. The Bureau of Prisons mandates 2,500 to 2,800 calories per inmate per day. Sounds reasonable, but the actual cost per meal at ADX, $2.93 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner combined. Less than a Big Mac. And the quality, that is where the nightmare begins. Because in 2019, something happened that forced the system to admit what inmates had been screaming about for years. This is the story of inmate 09856-032. For legal reasons, we will call him Marcus. Marcus was not supposed to end up in ADX. He was serving 20 years for armed robbery at a medium security facility in Pennsylvania. He had a release date. He had hope. Then he witnessed something. A guard beating an inmate unconscious in the shower block. Marcus reported it. 30 days later, he was on a plane to Colorado. Maximum security, indefinite solitary confinement. They called it administrative necessity. He called it retaliation. Cell 49, 7 feet wide, 12 feet long. A concrete bed, a stainless steel toilet, and a food slot. The first meal arrived at 5 a.m. Breakfast. A styrofoam tray pushed through the slot. Lukewarm. A bread roll, hard as concrete. Margarine packet. Powdered juice. Marcus did not know it yet, but this exact meal would be served to him 1,127 times in a row. And what it did to his body, the medical reports do not lie. Month 1. Marcus weighed 185 pounds. He started documenting everything in letters to his lawyer. Quote, the food is cold. Every meal. Sometimes there is mold on the bread. I told the guards. They said eat it or starve. Month 3. His weight dropped to 170. He started having stomach pains, diarrhea, constant nausea. Here is what was happening. The food at ADX was not just low quality. According to later investigations, it was borderline malnutrition. A Harvard nutritionist who reviewed the meal plans called it designed deficiency. Month 7. Marcus filed a formal complaint. Medical neglect. Cruel and unusual punishment. It was denied within 48 hours. The reason, quote, meals meet federal minimum standards. Technically, they were right. On paper, the meals had enough calories. But there is a difference between calories and nutrition. And there is a difference between nutrition and humanity. What Marcus did next would trigger a federal investigation. But the cost, you need to understand what 1,200 days of the same food does to a human mind. Month 14. Marcus weighed 157 pounds. He stopped eating breakfast. Then lunch. The prison documented it. Psychiatric team evaluation. Diagnosis, oppositional behavior consistent with antisocial personality disorder. They did not ask why he stopped eating. They just authorized intervention. Let me be clear about what intervention means in ADX Florence. You are strapped to a chair. 5-point restraints. A tube is forced through your nose into your stomach. liquid nutrition pumped in. Takes 45 minutes. It is legal. It is documented. And according to the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, it meets the definition of cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. But Marcus's lawyer did something unusual. She subpoenaed the food contracts. All of them. And what she found changed everything. Buried in the contract with Keefe Group was a clause. A single sentence. And when a federal judge read it out loud in court, even the prosecution went silent. Section 12, subsection D. Quote, provider shall maintain cost efficiency through portion standardization and menu repetition to minimize waste and maximize contract value. Translation, the company made more money by serving the exact same meals over and over. No variety costs less. Bulk purchasing. Minimized labor. Maximum profit. Let's break down the incentive structure. The worse the food, the better the profit. And because inmates cannot complain effectively, there is no market correction. The investigation expanded. 16 other federal facilities. Same contractor. Same pattern. Inmates reported the same meals for months. Years. One man in Terre Haute got the identical dinner, soy protein loaf, canned green beans, white rice, for 943 consecutive days. When nutritionists analyzed the meals, they found something disturbing. The food met caloric requirements. But micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, deficient across the board. Remember cell 49. Here is what the medical examiner found when they finally tested Marcus after 18 months. Severe vitamin B12 deficiency. Scurvy, yes, the disease from the 1700s. Muscle wasting. Anemia. Early signs of neurological damage. All from food that technically met federal standards. But here is the part that makes this bigger than one prison. This is not an accident. It is a business model. Marcus's case went to federal court in 2021. The lawsuit alleged Eighth Amendment violations. Deliberate indifference to serious medical needs. The government settled. Terms confidential. But part of the settlement was public. ADX Florence had to improve food quality standards and submit to quarterly nutritional audits. Marcus was transferred out of ADX. Medium security. He gained back 30 pounds in 4 months. But the neurological damage, permanent. He still has tremors in his hands. Memory issues. He will be eligible for parole in 2028. But here is what most people miss. This is not just about ADX Florence. It is about a system that turned punishment into profit. When you privatize essential services in prisons, food, healthcare, phone calls, even toilet paper, you create a perverse incentive. The company makes more money by providing less. Let me show you the scale. $8 billion. For the worst food you can legally serve. There is a reason food matters so much in prison. It is not just nutrition. It is dignity. When you are in solitary, food is the only sensory experience you have. No conversation. No touch. No sunlight. Just the tray. And when that tray contains the same cold, tasteless, barely edible meal every single day, it is not just your body that breaks. It is your mind. Remember the clause in the contract? The one about menu repetition. That was not just about money. A psychologist who testified in the case explained it like this: repetition is a known method of psychological control. Same environment. Same routine. Same food. It creates what is called learned helplessness. You stop resisting because resistance is pointless. You become compliant. After Marcus's case, there was momentum for change. Senators sent letters. Advocacy groups pushed for legislation. In 2022, a bill was introduced, the Prison Nutrition and Dignity Act. It would mandate fresh fruits and vegetables daily, ban meal repetition beyond 7 days, and require independent nutritional oversight. It never made it out of committee. But follow the money. The companies that profit from prison food spent $5 million lobbying Congress. The bill died quietly. Today, right now, there are 341 inmates in ADX Florence. Most of them in 23-hour solitary. All of them eating from the same contracted food service. The menu has more variety now. The settlement forced that. But it is still the same contractor. Same business model. Same incentives. Because here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud: we have decided that people in prison do not deserve good food. And once you decide someone does not deserve something basic, it is easy to take everything else away too. Cell 49, it is occupied again. New inmate. Different crime. Same 7x12 concrete box. Same food slot. And every morning at 5 a.m., the same question: how many days until this becomes torture? Here is the part that keeps me up at night. We know that solitary confinement causes permanent psychological damage. The UN calls it torture after 15 days. But we have people in ADX who have been in solitary for years, decades. And we are feeding them food that we would not give to dogs. Food designed to maximize profit by minimizing quality. Food that causes physical harm. So ask yourself this. Because justice is supposed to be about rehabilitation, protection, proportionality. But when you design a system that deliberately harms people, even people who have done terrible things, what are we actually doing? I'm not saying these inmates are innocent. Many of them committed horrific crimes. But here is the thing about human rights: they are not conditional. The Eighth Amendment does not say no cruel and unusual punishment unless someone really deserves it. It is absolute. Because once you create exceptions, you create a system where abuse becomes policy. And that is exactly what happened. The business model at ADX and prisons across America depends on us not caring, not asking questions, not looking too close at what is on that tray. Because if we actually looked, we would have to admit something uncomfortable. We have created a torture system, and we are paying corporations to run it. Marcus is 43 now. He is in a medium security facility in Ohio. He works in the kitchen, ironically. In a letter from last year, he wrote something that stuck with me. Quote, "I do not dream about freedom anymore. I dream about a salad. Something green. Something that was not frozen 3 years ago. Something that does not taste like punishment. That is what we have done. We have made fresh vegetables a fantasy. We spend $216 a day to keep someone in ADX, and less than $3 to feed them. Where is the rest going? Security, infrastructure, and profit. Here is why this matters beyond prison walls. These contractors, they are expanding. School cafeterias, hospitals, nursing homes. The same business model, the same incentives. Feed more people, spend less money, maximize profit. And who is going to complain? It's the elderly, the powerless. ADX Florence is not an isolated case. It is a test lab, and we are allowing it. Look, I am not telling you to feel sorry for people in ADX. Some of them are there for a reason. But I am telling you to pay attention. Because a society that tortures its prisoners, even legally, even quietly, even through something as mundane as bad food, is a society that has lost its way. And the precedent we are setting, it does not stay in prison. It spreads to schools, to hospitals, to anywhere we have decided people do not matter enough to feed them with dignity. Marcus served his time for armed robbery. But the real crime, it is what we did to him while he was locked up. And we are still doing it, right now, in 341 cells at ADX Florence, and thousands more across America. The question is, are we okay with that? If this opened your eyes, you need to watch what we uncovered about the medical care at ADX. Because if you think the food is bad, wait until you hear what happens when you get sick in America's most secure prison. The story does not end here. It gets worse. Click now.